Hi, I'm Diane, your host of Epic Conversations. And today we're going to talk about different aspects of leadership. And we are back with Josue Ibarra. And Josue, we graduated together at Charis Bible College 2015. And he went on to the business track and is now the coordinator of the business school. And he also serves in his church, the Freedom Church, as a Pastor of Ministries, and he has his own podcast. And so we're going to upload that in the notes. But we're going to talk about leadership today because Josue has a passion for leadership. So thank you for coming back, Josue.
Thank you. No, thank you.
And let's talk about leadership.
Yeah, let's do it because I think it's vital and it's important. Craig Rochelle says it like this: everything rises and falls on leadership. So if your leadership is good, then, well, you're going to do well. If it's poor, then, again, it doesn't matter. Even if you have some strong people under you, again, it's the cap is going to be on that leader. And so with that, I want to talk about like just the different aspects or the different views of leadership. Because I think when we think leadership, all we think is leading downline or leading to the people that are under you.
Or right? Giving orders.
Giving orders, right? Those that finger pointing. But sometimes, that finger pointing can change lives, right? And so with that, I want to talk about the different aspects as like, well, it's not just leading down, but it's broadening our perspective and realizing that maybe, and most people aren't in the highest form of leadership like a CEO or a founder or a president, right? Most people are in that middle management piece. And so in middle management, you have to think broader of, I'm not just leading down to my team, but I have a team of my own that I work with, and I have to lead peer-to-peer wise. And then finally, also, I got to lead up to my boss and my manager. And that's the whole thing. Like,
that's a good point. It's three ways: down, peers, and up.
Exactly. It's those things, and it's a different perspective. But when you realize that, you don't need the title, you don't need the highest form of leadership, all you need truly is just the influence. And because I think it's John Maxwell who has eloquently brought that across, is like the purest form of leadership when you just get down to the root of it. It's just influence, right? Mm-hmm. So that means any of us or anyone could be in leadership, right? Mm-hmm. It's just based on the influence that you have. And so with that, I just want to talk about today is just how we can grow in each of those aspects of downline, peer-to-peer.
Good, let's hear it.
So for me, like growing in my leadership, leading downline. So right now, I assist Pastor Joe and Tessa at Freedom Church, and literally I help them lead the executive team. So we have operations, we have the next gen, we have our family care, our creative, and then we also have worship. And so those are the 5 main departments in our groups. And so leading downline with them, again, the important piece of leading downline is one, and we talked about this in prior episodes, but it's gaining the trust, getting the trust factor in place. And again, it's all about servanthood, right? And servanthood gives you access to trust, it gives you access to influence, it gives you access to promotion. But in that, you serve your people that are downline, and you serve them, again, through the heart piece, and then you serve them through also growing them.
That's important.
It's growing them. And then again, your communication is going to be super vital too when you're communicating downline to your teams. And the best way I like to say is just keep it simple, like KISS. You know what I mean? Keep it simple, saints. We'll just say that, right? Because, again, the more simple your communication is to them, the more that they're going to be able to buy in. And we talked about delegation before, too. The things you cannot delegate that I suggest not to delegate are like meetings. You have to be that, because meetings is that place of communication. It's that place of they're hearing you. And so when you meet with your team, leading downline-wise, you want to run those meetings and you want to run them great.
Oh,
right?
Okay, good.
Another thing I would say is you can't really delegate or give away is correction or conflict, right? If there are issues, you can't just put that off on someone else. You have to be that person that addresses those issues.
And that can be challenging at times.
And it's scary, challenging, not fun. Definitely I've had it where I've gotten my head chewed back off. But again, it's just you go through it and it's fine. It's like, okay, hey, I'm just a messenger getting this piece across, right? And so with that, you know, you don't delegate those things, but the more that you lead your meetings well and effectively, the more that you communicate with your team, and the more that you have those confrontations or conflicts, it's good. It's going to bring health to the team. Just like Jesus, you know, he was so good at operating in grace and in truth. He brought both aspects, and you know, look at his awesome team and what they've done. There are now millions of Christians in the body of Christ, but it's because of and it was all done in 3 years by a man who was willing to lead downline successfully, communicate with his disciples all the time, right? So it's constant communication. He kept it pretty simple with them, right?
Yes, he did.
Said, love God and love others, right? That was pretty simple. And again, he always brought in those corrective moments when it needed to be brought in, and look at his team and look at the fruit of their labor. So that's leading downline. Also, you may be in the place of where you got to lead peer-to-peer wise. And again, we talked about presentation or how we present things.
Oh, yeah.
This is where it becomes very important because, again, when you're on a team, they don't have to listen to you. You don't have that title, right? Or you don't have that place of authority. So the only way they're going to listen to you is, one, if they have trust with you. The only way they're going to listen to you is if you make them a part and you feel like they've contributed to even the idea. Even for me, so like when I was at Freedom Church at the time, I just came on as the youth pastor again, and Pastor Joe was in these meetings, and it was like 15 people in these meetings. And there were people doing all these different jobs, like pretty much everyone just did like, oh, I do this and this and this. Like maybe, hey, I do lyrics. I also set up coffee, and I also set up chairs. And I also schedule people for PCO. A lot of different things. And so it's kind of a little chaotic. And I remember my pastor just telling me one time as I was sitting down with him, getting to know him more, he's like, man, I get frustrated in these meetings. Gosh, these meetings are going on for 2 hours. Oh my gosh, you know. And so he wanted to change. Me, I'm the new guy, so I'm just talking with all the groups and talking with different people, and you'll hear different people of like, I see no issues with meetings. Okay, those are probably aren't the people I need to connect with. But as I connect more with other people of the team, it's like, oh yeah, I feel the same way. While I'm working with them, how do we create a solution and how do we bring something? Well, we realized it was structure. And so, anyways, I got their buy-in. And again, I didn't come across of like, oh my gosh, this is terrible, this is wrong. But I simply came in humble and just asked questions like, how do you guys feel about this? How do you guys feel the meetings are going? How do you know, and the more I asked them questions, the more I got their buy-in, got their feedback. They were heard. Man, we presented a solution together, and it's like, hey, let's do an org chart, guys. That's what we need. We need, you know, job descriptions. We need people to delegate and let go of some tasks. We need to first identify what hats everyone's wearing and identify what hats everyone can release, and we can start bringing other people involved.
It sounds like you had some organization you brought to the table.
Right, but the thing is, I talked with everyone, even the people at first who said, oh, I don't see any issues, but they all came down to the place of knowing, if we're going to grow, this is what we need to do.
That's good.
I wasn't the boss, though. I wasn't necessarily the person in charge. It was just someone who had influence and just simply came across humbly to people, got their buy-in. They saw the issues and the same thing we were seeing, but just like, how do we structure it? And we got to the challenging part of telling 15 people that it's only going to be 5 people in this meeting, not everyone.
Oh, yeah.
So again, leading through that and letting people was like, dude, I was here longer than you. I was here at the start of the church. And, you know, that's the attitude people can take. But again, if you come across it humbly and you lead peer-to-peer wise, and the way you do that, again, is you get their input, you get their trust, and you remind them of the end goal, right? Input, trust, end goal.
Input, trust, and goal.
Right. And so we all know that the input they gave back of like, okay, we feel frustrated with these meetings, to the trust of, again, I'm not here to take over anyone's position or anything like that. Or I'm not here to exile anyone from a meeting. We're just trying to bring structure, and we bring it back to the goal is we want to see Freedom Church grow.
Amen. And once they saw the bigger picture,
right,
they didn't mind going to the meetings.
They did not mind.
Because they were originally there. They said, oh, I understand. Yes, this makes sense. They bought in.
Exactly. So that's leading peer-to-peer wise. Lastly, it's just leading up. Again, the best way to lead up is, I hesitate using that term to lead up, because truly we give honor to the person who's above us, right?
Mhm.
They're truly the leader. So it's not like we're forcing them or pushing them somewheres. We're coming alongside them and helping them go towards the direction that they feel called to. So it's not that we're kind of, have you heard that saying, like the husband, he's the head, but the wife's the neck that turns the head, right? So not saying that we're the neck that turns the head, because again, to me that can be dishonoring at times, right? Because
manipulative.
Manipulative,
Yeah.
exactly. The head, finally, they're called to be the head, so the final decision is up to the head.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, when we're leading up, the way we do it is, the way I do it is I bring up gaps, and here are the A-B solutions to those gaps.
So when you're saying A-B, you mean one or the other?
Yes.
Yes.
So example, even when we were talking about these structures, I was like, Pastor Joe, here are some the gaps that we see, and you're kind of venting out to me in frustration of what this is.
Mm-hmm.
One solution is, hey, maybe we just keep the meetings to an agenda and we keep it real simple. Or the long term that's going to really do well is we break down in org charts. And again, based on the org chart, that's who's in the meeting. So again,
Mm-hmm.
you have your top line meeting with the executive. They have now their teams that they
Mm-hmm.
oversee, and they meet with them. So everyone's still being communicated with and met with, but it's just broken down now in a different way. He wanted the long-term solution, and we ended up going forward with that.
God.
Right. And so again, I'm not telling him, hey, this is what you need to do, but I'm saying, hey, here are the gaps, and here are the solutions behind those, A or B. What would you like? And then also, we never tell our leader no, right? So if they say, like, I want to go north, and we see all the gaps, it's like, oh my gosh, north, that looks terrible, right? But we don't say, boss, you're crazy, you're nuts, you lost your way, we can't go north. But we let them know, hey, boss, if we go north, here's the cost that's going to come with that. We're going to need more equipment, or we're going to need more structure, or we're going to need to, again, let them know what we're going to need. And you're not trying to sell them off, but you're just letting them know, hey, truly, if we want to go that way, that's fine. But here's the cost behind that. Are we willing to pay that? And most of the times they'll say yes. Or sometimes they'll say, you know what? Actually, I didn't think that through, and I didn't think about those costs, and I don't want to pay that. So no, we're not going that way. So again, that's a different perspective on leadership. It's leading downline. It's leading peer-to-peer wise. It's leading up. Leading down, that trust, that servanthood. You get the heart, and also you grow them. Peer-to-peer wise, again, you get the input, right? And again, you get that buy-in or that influence, and you remind them of the end goal. And then lastly, leading up, you just, whatever gaps you see, you provide solutions. A-B solutions is what I encourage, is because, again, if you bring up one thing and they say no, then you're back to the drawing board. So might as well bring up two good ideas.
Excellent. Excellent. That is a great summary. Perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. I mean, there's some great tools here on leadership, down, sideways, and up. If you're enjoying these episodes, please subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend, and in the meantime, have an epic day in the Lord.